Welcome to the WDW Fan Zone show, and thank you for joining us tonight because we were not supposed to be here. My plans changed yesterday, and we were supposed to do a show last night because my plans had changed, and guess what? My internet service went down. But we're back up today, so we figured, we wanted to just sneak this show in there. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this show, the topic tonight, is the blistering hot heat down here in Florida, more specifically this past week at Walt Disney World, which is supposed to continue into next week. Even though it's been in the mid-90s, it feels like it's in the 108 area. So I thought we would discuss how you can make the most of the heat to keep you cool and keep your fun factor way up there while you're at Walt Disney World, because when you're hot and sweaty, it ain't so much fun most of the time. So I thought, unless you guys have any other idea, that we would go park by park and maybe outside of the parks to discuss, because each park is going to give you a different feel. At least I believe so. Now, I remember years ago where the reference came from, Animal Kingdom hot. You would go to another park and everybody would say it's Animal Kingdom hot. I tend to think these days, you want to find the most shade, the park to go to is Animal Kingdom. But we'll get into that and others later on. So, Darlene, pick a park.
Let's do Magic Kingdom first.
Okay. So I know, when you walk out of that tunnel into Magic Kingdom, well, you're already a little hot because you're coming off the monorail, walking down or a boat, and you go onto Main Street. If you're going there in July, August, well, and now June, at least for the next few hours, you're going to feel it real. I mean, it's just like the heat, humidity, it just comes raining down on you. So what are some of the things you guys would do as you enter the park and you're walking down Main Street? And we're going to pretend we're not in a complete rush to get to an attraction and get online and have to suffer on a hot line or maybe cool off on a line. Anybody want to go first?
Well, so I'm going to, some of this is going to apply just to Magic Kingdom and some of it's going to apply across the board. But I think Magic Kingdom, one of the benefits of Magic Kingdom is you have lots of opportunities to go in and out of the heat.
Yep.
More so than places like Animal Kingdom when we talk about that. But I remember being there in June of last year, and I never go in June, July, and August, but we had made plans because we're going to be going on a cruise in June. We're going to stay a few days before, and it just so happened the cruise, it was when the Wish was coming out, and the Wish wasn't ready, so all we had was to go to the park. So, but anyway, the nice thing about Magic Kingdom is, and what we would do is we would go someplace with air conditioning. Then we'd go off and do an attraction that maybe didn't have the greatest air conditioning, or we'd have to walk from one land to another land to get to where we were going and then duck into air conditioning. So getting those breaks is one of the big things that we did. And getting the breaks could either be an air conditioned attraction, and we can talk about some of those, or it could be going somewhere to get a drink. So in fact, I would use mobile ordering, have a drink ordered, and when I get there, it was more likely that it was going to be ready. So in and out, and we would never stay out just walking around in the sun for too long.
Yeah, I think Magic Kingdom, there are certain areas like in Tomorrowland where you can still escape the heat, but you see a lot of people around the Carousel of Progress in that area behind it where, oh God, what's the name of that attraction? I've never done it.
Buzz Lightyear.
No, not Buzz Lightyear. The spins you around.
Oh, Astro Orbiter.
Astro Orbiter, that's it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like right in that section there, it's just all sun.
Yeah.
And spaceship.
Concrete.
I'm sorry, Mount Space Mountain is right there too. it's changed a little bit now with Tron there.
Yeah.
Thankfully for the better.
You do have in that area, you have a lot of seating. You do have a lot
You
of
do.
trees. There's a tree line there, which is really nice. Once the sun shifts, you can sit in the shade.
Well, there's also a
So,
hangover from the buildings there too that you could go
yes, there
under.
is. Yes.
Yeah.
Which was very smart of them to do that,
Yep,
to put that
absolutely.
one, I think it's called Launchpad,
Mhm. Yep.
concessions over there.
Punching pad.
Launching pad, right there because that's, got a cover over it with
Yeah.
tables and stuff that you can order food and sit. So,
And where's a great place to go to sneak in Cosmic Rays. And
yes.
even if you just sit there and enjoy the air conditioning and the music.
Or Aunt Gravity's for a milkshake or an ice cream.
Yep, absolutely.
Those are nice
Uh,
little things.
yeah, yeah. But for the most part, I think you'll find that in most areas, like even where the new Aloha Isle is, there is a place where you can duck under, like that little tunnel there,
Yes.
which protects you from the sun. But the benches, unfortunately, are right out in the open where the sun is. So if you want to sit on a bench over there, ouch, especially in this heat,
Yeah.
the heat we've had the last few days.
That's kind of like Citrus Isle too. When you go over there and you're sitting outside
Mhm.
in front of the treehouse and stuff, that area.
Mhm. Yep.
And you got the concrete benches. It's the same thing. It's pretty hot.
Yeah.
It is, but there are plenty of places to duck in.
Oh, there is. Yeah. You can go into, if you're in Fantasyland, into the Dumbo area. That's fairly big area.
Yeah.
That the
Even in New Adventureland, there's a lot of places to duck under or duck into as well.
Yep.
Except for Jungle Cruise.
Yes.
Jungle Cruise is not a good way to avoid the heat.
No.
You're right. But what they started to do, at least the last time I was on Jungle Cruise, the line would stay inside until you got on the boat. But if you're walking around the area there, you're right. And I think that's what you're referring to.
Well, right. But even being in the shade, you don't get any relief from the heat and the humidity.
No.
And if you're in line for 40 minutes, then you're on the attraction. And when you're on the attraction, inevitably the sun's going to hit you as you turn the ship. So
that's absolutely true. And those fans don't do anything for you.
Yeah,
When
I avoid the Jungle Cruise in weather like that.
Yeah, I agree. Unless there's no line, which is rarely the case.
I think my favorite queue during the heat like it is now is Pirates of the Caribbean.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You get cooled throughout the queue. So it's almost a benefit to have the queue a little bit longer because you get there, you start to cool down, then you have the attraction to look forward to, and you recover more that way.
Right.
By being out of the heat for a while.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Good point. Between Space Mountain and the now closed Splash Mountain, there was that little area in between where you could duck under.
Space Mountain and Splash Mountain?
I'm sorry, Thunder Mountain.
Big Thunder.
Splash Mountain and
Big Thunder Mountain and Splash Mountain.
Okay.
Yes.
Splash Mountain. There's that little, like, it's almost like a cave-like kind of thing.
Yeah.
Go under that. That'll
an underpass. Yeah.
Yeah, that was always nice to go in. You were waiting for somebody.
Yeah, it's not air conditioned, but it's in the shade.
Yeah.
So
and there was a store there. There was the restrooms and stuff that weren't always crowded.
Yeah.
That was a nice area.
I hope they at least leave that part when they reopen everything.
Right.
And I don't know what the plans are in that part of it, but we'll see.
One of the things we did when we were there in June of last year, and I remember doing it in the Magic Kingdom particularly, we took the safari hats, the sun hats, and it didn't cool you down, but not having the sun on you as much made it a little more bearable when you were in the heat. So I was surprised, because I'd never really worn one before.
Oh, really?
But it made a difference.
Yeah,
So-
Keith and I took those last week Saturday when we went to see Simple Plan.
Now, I got a story for you guys. I had bought a black Adidas hat. Now, the reason I bought black is my favorite color. So I bought a black Adidas baseball cap. And I don't know if you remember, Darlene, I was wearing it the day we met up with Lottie and her family in Disney's Hollywood Studios. Don't ever wear a black hat in the parks, no matter what time of year it is, because, oh my God, I was dying when I got home and took it off. Dying. It was so hot under there because black just seems to absorb the heat.
Well, it does. The color black absorbs sun.
Yep.
So what they mentioned on the news the past few days is to wear light colored clothing.
It's more reflective. It bounces the sun rays off some.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons too. Is like I have one of these beautiful water cloths that Stuart had gotten years and years ago. But I take this with me all the time when I go to the parks, and I use it even like when I'm walking the dog when it's hot like this, or when I'm doing yard work. They wash up great.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Darlene. I apologize. Before we move on to the next park, I don't know if you guys have anything else to add to Magic Kingdom. You do. Okay, we'll get back to that in a second, John. Darling, you always, at the end of every show, what do you always say to everybody?
Pack your sunscreen, and you have to. Now, one other thing I'm going to say, I know, Kurt would be all against this, but I have seen with the heat, a lot of people are carrying umbrellas to keep the sun off of them. I seen a mother carrying a child, and she had the carrier case on the front, and the baby was underneath the umbrella. And umbrellas aren't just for rain, they are for sun also. But just be mindful when you go into an open venue to watch a show or something. You can't have those umbrellas open while you're sitting at a show, because it will block the view for another guest. So please don't do that.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of guests don't care about other guests. I think most are mindful, but some are not.
Yeah, but sunscreen has to be applied too.
Absolutely. Now,
over and over. It doesn't stay on all day.
Right. If you're going to be in the parks all day, you're going to have to reapply it a couple of times.
Correct.
Something I've noticed in the parks, besides the umbrellas, you never used to see umbrellas, one or two here or there, but it's getting more and more frequent, the sightings of umbrellas, which is a good thing. But I'm also seeing quite a bit where, and I don't know how, these parents should not be parents. They have infants with them. They're not covered up. They might be carrying them in the front in one of those, I don't know what you call those sacks.
Yeah.
Or in the stroller. The stroller doesn't have a cover over them. And they're as red as can be. And it's like, are you kidding me? What are you doing that's child abuse to me. And I've seen that quite a few times in the parks. And it's not pretty to see. And that's all I'm going to say on it, because I'm going to just go off the rails if I continue talking about things like that. But, you have to, if you're not going to take care of yourself, take care of your children, for God's sakes. All right, John, you wanted to add more things about?
Well, so Darlene was talking about the area in general. Well, something in the same area as I'm going to say, and that is the Dumbo attractions, the dual attraction. There's also, in front of Pete's Silly Sideshow there in Storybook Circus, are those water jets that shoot up from around the circus vehicles there.
Oh yeah, that's right. They started
shoot the water,
the
different water features back there to help cool off a little bit. If that helps you. I mean, it might make you a little sticky too. I don't know, but
yeah.
Okay. I'd like to move on to another park unless you guys want to add anything else.
Well, I have one favorite place,
Go ahead.
and I think we talked around it, but the Carousel of Progress.
Hmm.
The Carousel of Progress, I love going in there.
That's a half-hour show, so
It is.
yeah.
And you don't have to usually don't have to wait very long to get in.
No.
No.
So it's a good way to get to cool quick, and it's comfortable. Just try not to fall asleep.
I did. Now that you brought that up, I do want to mention one thing: the Haunted Mansion. While it's waiting in line there,
Oh, yeah.
outside, it is undercover. You're
Mhm.
protected from the sun. So even if it's 100 degrees outside, you might feel like it's 90 degrees. But it'll feel a little cooler because you are protected from the sun.
The Hall of Presidents is also a nice long show that you could go and duck into.
It is. I'm trying to think where else.
Oh,
And
Peter Pan's queue is now inside as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and
That's right.
it's more interactive there too.
It is. It is.
And if you go back to Main Street to the front of it, the firehouse, that's a nice place to get out of the sun for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Even the Main Street shops.
Yeah, the Main Street shops are great.
Absolutely. In and out of the shop. Yeah, absolutely.
So you have all these opportunities to do what we were talking about before is go onto an attraction or go from location to location and then go into all of these places, either an attraction, a queue, a shop, stop. And one of the other things I think is a good idea is maybe change the way you're eating your meals that day. Instead of having a big lunch, a big dinner, have a number of snacks. So after you've been out and you've gone to an attraction, you've gone out through the sun, you've gone to another location, stop in and have a drink, have a snack, and then just keep mixing it up. Again, recovering from the heat instead of being out in the heat for 2.5, 3 hours at a time.
Yes.
Yeah.
And utilize the quick services and stuff for a glass of ice water.
Yep. Good idea. That's right. It's free. Take advantage of it. Something I wanted to mention very quickly. Crystal Palace. I love breakfast there, but if you're going to be out in the heat after you eat, and I mean eat and eat and eat and eat and eat at Crystal Palace, you're going to feel it all day. And it's going to make whatever the temperatures outside feel a lot warmer because you're carrying around extra weight in the... So beware. All right. I do want to move on to another park. And John, why don't you pick this one?
Well, why don't we go to Epcot?
Okay.
And Epcot's a little more challenging.
It is.
Because the distance between shops or quick service or attractions is a little bit farther than it is in Magic Kingdom. And even going from the World Discovery, World Nature, World Celebration to World Showcase, you've got a big open area there.
Yes.
So,
sorry, John, I don't mean to interrupt you, but until the whole area is open, we don't know what to expect from certain parts of it at this moment.
But to go from front to back,
right?
Go from the front part of the park to the back part of the park, you've got a big open section. And so my recommendation, or at least what we do, is we try to find somewhere to go as soon as we get into World Showcase. So for instance, you could go to Mexico. So if you're going into World Showcase, go left. You can go right, and you could go to Canada. You have maybe a fewer options. You could go, if you had a dining reservation for Le Cellier, or you could go into the shops, or you could go down the path to Canada, and there's some shade, and they've got the waterfalls there. It might give you a little bit of relief. But I like Mexico because you go in the pyramid, and it's nice and cool in there.
And you can go on the Three Caballeros.
Go on Grand Fiesta Tour, yeah.
I like to go to Epcot periodically to walk around. And I'll walk around World Showcase, and even on days when it's nice weather out, I come out of there because I won't go inside. I'll just walk around, do the few miles, come out, go to my car, and go home, and I'm dripping when I come out. And I'm not even going at a fast. I'm not going at a slow pace, but I'm not going at a fast pace.
Mm-hmm.
But I would not recommend that to anybody who's here on vacation.
Doing that right now.
or anybody. Yeah, I was supposed to go to the park 3 times this week. One of them was to go to Epcot to walk around. It was so hot here. I just said, you know what? I value my health, even though I could use the exercise. I value my health a little bit more than getting the exercise in because I don't want to collapse.
They tell you to walk around your house if you can't get out.
Well, yeah. Well, I don't have that big a house. But anyway, but you're right, Darlene. You know, it's when you go to World Showcase, you have to take the opportunity, go from pavilion to pavilion, take your
Yes.
time, just get out of the heat. The gardens where Mary Poppins is at the UK, that's a nice place to visit since we're in Canada.
Yes. Another night, the Odyssey is open, and they do have seating in the Odyssey.
Yeah.
So you can get water and stuff there. You can they've got a refill station for your bottles now too, right in front of the bar area. On the side you come in from World Showcase to exit to go to Test Track, it's on that side. So you want to make sure you get it filled there. But they have a ton of tables and stuff right now that are for seating in they call it the Flower and Garden Festival Center. So
yeah. Yep. Which will soon be the food. That's right.
At least we think we're not.
Yeah, we right. You never know.
You never know.
Yeah. You know, it's another place I want to mention in World Showcase, since we're on World Showcase. I absolutely love what they've done to the gift shop or the store in the American Pavilion.
Mm-hmm.
It's totally transformed from what it was a few years back.
I was shocked at what they had.
God, you have to be prepared to spend money when you go in there.
Right.
But
it's not inexpensive items, no.
No. But they've done a great job in that place. They really have.
But that one is a nice show in there too, in the American Pavilion, that you can, get in out of the sun, take a break, air conditioning, watch the show, and leave.
A long break. Yeah. That's one of my favorite places in Epcot to get out of the heat.
Yeah.
You know what? So yeah, this happens for those watching us on YouTube. I do want to mention this. Every now and then, the light that I have here will flicker on and off.
It's so funny because you just it's like you got a strobe light in there.
When this first happened, I went online to see, okay, what's the problem with it? And I found that not hundreds, thousands of people with the same type of fans, they're Hunter fans, with the same issue. And I don't remember what the part is they said it was, but it's just like there should be a recall on these things. They haven't done it. So we have another fan in our guest bedroom, and that fan has an issue also.
Oh, you have fans living with you. I know you have them following you around, but I didn't know they were living with you.
No, I'm not Lou Mangione.
Well, it is the fan zone there, so
it is the fan zone.
It is.
Now the Fanmation fans we have, and that we found out about from Darlene, who's got a beautiful one in her living room. Those are great fans. So if you're looking for a great fan, I know we're off topic. Fanmation, they're quiet. They work wonderfully, and I wish I had one in here.
Well, okay, since we're discussing fans, I was discussing on the other show.
Back on topic.
Yep. That I had purchased these on Amazon, and it's a very nice set.
It's like a headset almost.
Yeah, it does.
It does, but what you do is you put it around your neck, and this has a USB cord that you can charge it. And you have 3 settings. So it's pretty powerful.
So the fans are at the ends, which if it was a headset would be where the earpieces are.
Yeah.
Now, are those
little holes here?
Oh, the whole way around the loop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are those the ones if you have it on the lowest setting, it'll last 6 hours?
I think so.
Yeah, which is not bad.
Yeah.
And I
I
figure
mean,
if you
it's
go to the, oh, sorry, go ahead, Tom.
I mean, that's the low setting. I mean, I do the lawn on it. And I see a lot of people with different types and stuff.
If you can get one like that where it'll last up to 6 hours, some of them, depending on the setting, it won't. But you're taking a break in the middle of the day from the parks, which is another tip to give everybody there. Don't stay in the parks in the middle of the day unless you absolutely have to, because it's hot as blazes. Go back to your resort, go to the pool, and come back in the evening. But if you do stay there, I'm sorry, if you do go back to the resort, you can charge the fan up again. So you get a few hours in the morning and you get a few hours in the late afternoon, evening with it, and you should be good.
I was hoping I was going to be able to find it. My orders, apparently, I order so much, it's buried.
What else did I want to say about? Oh yeah, there were so many places in Epcot, even though it's hot if you're walking around. But there's benches there. There's trees there to sit under benches. There's so many stores to just duck into in addition to the pavilions. The Japan pavilion. Love it.
Mitsukoshi. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mitsukoshi is a great place to get out of the heat. Absolutely. And the rain.
Yes.
If,
That's very true.
so the neck fans right now, some of them are about like between $20 and $30. And some of them even have sales on right now. So, if you're coming down and you need something, check Amazon for portable neck fans or the handheld fans. Those are about like $14. I think those are battery operated though. So you got to make sure you have batteries with you. Cause I don't know.
A lot of people, get those fans with the mist spray. They can spray.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alicia had one that, my daughter, we had one of those and it leaked.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't last long.
Leaked from the get-go. It was like, oh God.
Yeah, they're not designed for long-term use, I don't think.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. But I think those,
and that's it.
one of the best things are those wet towels.
Mm-hmm.
They also do sell. Yep. They also do sell caps now that you can wet them, put them on your head, and it's supposed to keep the moisture for a long period of time. I haven't tried one of those, but I heard from people who have that they do like them.
Yeah.
Now we haven't discussed. I'm sure we're not finished with World Showcase, but we haven't discussed Future World. Future World. If you want to call
the
it
Land Pavilion.
Future World in transition, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, the Land Pavilion is a great place. You can grab
one of my favorites.
It's a whole pavilion, yes.
Yeah, it is a whole pavilion. You've got your quick service, you've got a sit-down restaurant, you got 2 rides. I mean, and ample space to sit.
Yep, absolutely. The aquarium, which is the Living Seas.
Yeah.
Go in there, go through the Nemo ride and go upstairs and enjoy the fish.
Yep, that's perfect.
Yep.
And Club Cool. Don't forget about Club Cool.
Oh yeah.
Club Cool.
You're out of the sun. You're at a part of the park where there's covering between Creation Shop as well as the what's your favorite place? Connections Cafe.
Oh, I do want to say something about Connections. I'm very serious about this, people. It's a terrible restaurant. Don't go there.
He's trying to keep you away, so
I'm trying to keep at the.
He wants your table.
That is my favorite quick service restaurant in Epcot, and there's only one quick service restaurant I like more in all the parks than Connections, and that's Satouli's.
Satuli Canteen.
Yeah.
And when you're done in the Club Cool, you can go in there and get something to drink and sample the different flavors that are there. Mm-hmm. You can go right into Creations Shop, which is a big store that they keep nice and cool.
Mm-hmm. Yes. They do.
Right. That's a great place to keep cool.
And they sell snacks in there too. Mm-hmm. If you're hungry.
I wish they would sell nicer T-shirts in there, but that's just a personal preference of mine.
Yeah.
But it's if you need to, and you could walk through
Creation shop.
creations
Mhm.
to keep
Absolutely.
yourself out of the heat for a
That
minute
is
or two.
great that you can do that,
Yeah,
'cause
even
we've
if
done
you
that.
don't want to shop and you're
Yeah.
just walking from front to back or back to front, duck in
Yes.
and slowly go through the shop just to cool off till you get out the other side. Yep.
Exactly. Um, another pavilion with a lot of, well, a huge store would be China. You can go
Yes.
through the
Yep.
store in China,
Yep.
and Japan has a very nice
Yeah, we
size
mentioned
store.
Japan.
And there are some, I think we talked about this before when we were talking about quiet places. If you go into the shops in China and you go all the way to the back by the exit to the show,
Mhm.
there are benches back there
Yes.
that you can sit on, in the shade. It's cooler. They have some air pumping, even though it's kind of an open air place. It's much more comfortable back there. Find a place to sit down, let the heat kind of subside within you.
Morocco, it's not, well, they do have that inside section now because they did open up the quick service area with like a
Benjamin
little
Cafe.
yeah, it's got some drinks and some snacks and stuff, and they did set up some tables, but they still have those benches outside there that you can get into the shade
Yeah.
and cool off.
Now, something Darlene is not going to like that I mentioned this. If you drink alcohol, and
Right.
soda too, or pop, whatever you want to call it, it dehydrates you.
Right.
The best fluid to drink while you're in the parks
Is water.
is water. Yeah.
It's sad. The sugar, the caffeine, the alcohol, it'll all dehydrate you.
Yep.
So if you do want to partake in a adult beverage, I would, drink water before and after that drink you have,
Or
because
drink it after your meal too.
yeah,
Another place you can get a non-alcoholic drink and can get you out of the heat if you're a DVC member or you're with somebody who is the DVC Lounge in the Imagination Pavilion.
yes,
And doesn't Epcot have an annual pass holder lounge now?
they did for
It's for the month of June, right?
for the month of June, so we
Yeah.
missed it. So
Yeah, I never got there.
I never
I
got
was
to
there.
it
I was
either.
in the park, but never got there.
Yeah, I know. I wish they would extend that.
Yeah, I think they'll bring it back. I
Yeah.
don't know when, but
Where else?
Regal Eagle is a great
Oh, it is.
quick
Yeah.
service or counter service place to go. First of all, to get good food.
Yes.
They have good air conditioning in there. There's a lot of space.
Yep.
One of my favorites to go and sit down and cool off.
it's one of the best places to hide out during a rainstorm too. I
That's
know that
it.
firsthand.
Yeah.
It is. Yes. You just got to time it perfectly so you get in there first.
Yeah. Yeah, it gets crowded there because you have people who are trying to stay out of the rain and you're trying to eat your food.
Right. Yep.
But yeah.
Well, and you are at Epcot, so if you are near the the walkway between France and the UK, you could go sneak over and out International Gateway and go to the resorts.
Yep.
And go to like one of their quick services or Beaches and Cream, get a Noe Jose or a kitchen sink if you got a bunch of people.
And there's a form of transportation if you go out that way, which is actually like a little bit of an attraction. You can take that to
Yep.
the Riviera or what's the one, that Caribbean beach?
Oh, the Skyliner. Yes.
Yep.
You got the Skyliner that you can go to the other resorts that way, or you can go to the Yacht and Beach Club, the boardwalk with the boat.
Yep.
Boardwalk.
And the boat opened again from Disney Springs to
Saratoga.
West.
Old Key West
Yeah.
in Saratoga.
Did that just open this week, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was this week.
Yeah, because it wasn't open when we were there. No.
Yeah, so that's another thing that you can do, maybe not from Epcot. Well, so you could get on one of the friendship boats, and
Mm-hmm.
they've got some air conditioning. You could take the friendship boat from the International Gateway and take a little tour of Crescent Lake, past Yacht and Beach and Boardwalk and Swan and Dolphin, or even all the way down to Hollywood Studios. Just
Yep.
take a little break.
Exactly.
It's always a good idea to take a little break, especially when it's so hot, so crowded in the park.
Don't expect. I mean, if you really need to get on a lot of attractions and you're willing to bear the heat, but if you're trying to cut down on the heat, try not to expect to do as many attractions.
Right.
Right.
You know, basically what we're trying to say on this show is if you're coming here to go through Disney Commando style, first of all, it's impossible to do Disney Commando style anymore,
Mm-hmm.
even with Genie Plus. You know, you've got to be prepared. Take your time. Enjoy what's around you, the surroundings. Plan, you know, I'll go back to plan well, plan very well, and try to keep yourself as cool as you can.
You know, and the thing is that if you know you're not coming back, I can totally get the fact that you want to go full strength and be in that park from opening to close. But don't forget that if you're staying on property or even like relatively close, you have your own car, you can go back to your hotel, unwind, go into the pool, swim for a while, relax, take a shower and then go back for the fireworks, if you know you're coming back, that's the perfect way to do it.
Yeah, I know what we used to do. We'd go to the park till about 12, 1 o'clock. We would get there, right around opening. Go either have lunch first or go back to our resort and have lunch there, one of the two. And then the kids would go to the pool. Sometimes we'd go with them. Sometimes we'd just stay in the hotel room and shower and relax and take a nap and go back refreshed in the evening. We'd have a sit-down meal in the evening usually. Go back in the evening, see the fireworks, go on some attractions. If park had late night hours, we would take advantage. Well, when I say we, I mean me and my kids would take advantage of the late night hours and get onto a lot of attractions that way. Even ones we've done, ones we didn't have time to do during the day. I know things have changed and touring Disney that way is not always feasible or possible for everybody. I get that.
Yeah.
So you have to do what's best for you in the time frame you're there. But there are ways that we're discussing today or tonight that can help you guys out.
Mm-hmm.
Any other place in Epcot you want to mention that we either forgot to mention or didn't mention?
Actually, that's one of the times that I will actually go on Journey into Imagination with Figment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't often go on there, but
Yeah.
It's
right.
I will do it to get a little break. As we've said, moving from pavilion to pavilion, go in, cool off, sit down. You don't have to wait in line usually for that attraction.
Yeah. Each park has a number of, when I say a number, I mean one or two attractions that for whatever reason, the lines aren't hours long.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another park I'm sure we'll get to later on that I can think of immediately that I don't understand why it doesn't have the crowds that it used to have, but that's for later. But if it's a 10-minute wait and you're walking by there, take those 10 minutes to get inside that attraction and go on it.
Right.
Again, to bring down that heat level.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Recover some so you can go move on to the next.
Yeah, and you know what? If you've got little kids with you and they happen to fall asleep during that attraction and they miss some of it, that's okay. Their bodies rejuvenate themselves so they can run around and run you around in circles after.
Exactly.
All right. I think we're going to move on to another park. Darlene, why don't you pick this one?
Let's do Hollywood Studios next.
Okay. You picked the park that I think, and I know you guys will probably disagree with me, that has the least amount of shade of any of the parks.
No, I kind of agree, but if you're strategic on how you go in, if you don't just go straight up, you can slip through the stores on both
Yes.
sides
Yes.
there as well.
Well, here's my problem. I'm sorry, go on.
I mean, they did it right. They do have all those, all those shops and stuff. It's perfect.
They do. And I completely agree with you there. The problem I have with Hollywood Studios, and this is just a general problem I have with them, there aren't enough attractions. And we're just talking about escaping the sun and the heat. There aren't enough attractions there to allow you to escape the heat and the sun in certain areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are two lands. There are two lands within Disney's Hollywood Studios that have
brutal,
very little respite from the heat. One in particular,
I know which one you're talking about,
is Toy Story Land.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. I avoid Toy Story Land when it's that hot.
Oh, yeah.
Every parent with children has to go there. They have to. They don't have a choice.
Unless you're just broaching the border and going into Woody's Backyard Barbecue.
Right.
I've got to eat there one of these days. Haven't been there yet.
The food is very good.
That's
very
what I've heard.
We enjoyed it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard anybody who's had a bad meal there. Everyone has loved that place. I'll get there eventually. But you're right. Toy Story Land is one. John, what's the other one? I kind of know what it is too.
Well, my other one is yes, Galaxy's Edge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, so this could be an opportunity to get on Rise of the Resistance. Because if you can get into the queue on the inside, you've got
keep Darlene up.
I know. Again, I'm sorry.
You've got a bit to wind around, but it's cool in there because of all of the snaking back and forth of the queue within the caves.
Right. True. Another place to like slip out and that and it's a pretty decent show is the Muppets 3D.
That's what I was talking about before. It used to be very popular, not so much these days, and I don't understand that it's one of the best shows in any of the parks.
Yeah.
I won't call it the best attraction, but if you're looking for a really good show.
Yeah. Because even like, Baseline over there, they tried putting in some trees and stuff to make that area shaded. The area by ABC Commissary, there is some shade. Not much because you basically have to go in.
Yeah.
Do you know how to tell a shade tree?
Everybody's standing under it.
No. You can tell a shade tree by its having its shades on.
Oh. Oh, good golly.
Old dad joke.
Where else can you go?
I've got a favorite.
Oh, I've got one.
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, you sure?
Yeah, go ahead.
Indiana Jones.
Okay.
That's a great place.
Jones.
It's not air conditioned, but it's in the shade and you're resting and you're sitting and enjoying a wonderful show.
Yep, exactly.
Gotcha.
My place, and they pump the air conditioning in this place something fierce. And that's the Sci-Fi Dine-In. And it's dark. I mean, it is.
Yeah, it is dark. I'll give you that.
So it is.
Take your flashlight out to see where you're eating.
The Frozen show is a good way to get out of
the Frozen show.
Too.
Yeah,
it's a great show.
Sing along.
I'm trying to think.
Mickey's Runaway Railway is. Once you're inside, it's good.
It takes a little while. Is what I've noticed.
Inside.
So the queue, the further you get in the queue, the cooler it gets. You almost have to get to the
Yes.
point where you go through the wall and you get to the queue right before the attraction. I have noticed in there thinking, you know what? It is not as cool in here as I thought it was going to be.
Yep.
Right.
Because the doors are open and it's letting all the heat in.
Yes, yes.
Something we had, we discussed kind of briefly. I discussed kind of briefly the lack of attractions in Hollywood Studios. I know I'm not going to mention the exec's name because I don't want to get him in trouble, even though it was publicly said, but kind of alluded to that there are a couple of parks, one in particular, where they might expand knowing they need to do more to get more guests and to give them more to do. One of them has a lot to do, but you can never have enough in any park.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to this year's D23 to see, or next year's D23, whenever it is. I'm losing my mind. And I'm looking for a lot better announcements to come next time than we got last time.
So here's an interesting question in that regard, and it does relate somewhat to the heat. And it's going back to the Magic Kingdom. And so Tom Sawyer Island would be a pretty hot place to be. And to get there, you have to go on a raft, and that's hot.
Yep.
And there is some shade there, but you're outside. There's no place. There's no air conditioning out there. You've got a little bit of the caves there, but so there's been some discussion about filling the Rivers of America in.
Or how about building a bridge to it and doing something, have another attraction there with a bridge on and off?
So what are your thoughts about how likely that is?
Very good. And not just with Tom Sawyer Island. I think there's an area behind Magic Kingdom that could be blown out and more added there. And I think I think there's a good chance we're going to see something announced.
Underutilized area.
Yeah. Well, when I say I think we're going to see something announced or hear something announced soon, I think within the next 2 to 3 years, closer to two.
Yeah.
It
was a little bit of a stray, but certainly, that's not a place we think of going now in the heat.
No,
I don't know.
Absolutely not. And Hollywood Studios was the other place that wasn't mentioned by name, but I think that's the other place that definitely has the room to expand that I think we'll hear an announcement for.
We talked about the animation courtyard is kind of underutilized.
We know Disney's counting their money now. We know that, but so is every company. But to continue to make money and profit, and Disney knows this, they've got to invest.
They have to invest.
Yeah, and invest in the right areas.
And attractions don't pop up in a year. Not recently on Disney's timeline anyway.
And we complain a lot about the prices at Disney, but you know what? It's those prices that in part get us the stuff we love. And I'm not saying it's right. I think there might be better ways to do certain things, but you know what? Every company can improve on certain things. We can improve on certain things in our daily lives. No one's perfect.
I'll try harder next time, Stuart.
Yeah, me too. My next lifetime, I'll come back. I want to come back.
I meant on the next podcast.
Oh, okay. I meant my next life. I want to come back as a dog. Dogs have a great life. You walk them, they do their business, they come in, they relax, they sleep.
Hey, Bernie, we've got competition for you.
Wait a minute. I'm living that life now as being retired.
Anywhere else in Hollywood Studios?
Oh boy, I'm thinking.
Oh, One Man's Dream.
Yes.
Good answer.
Yep. And I think that place is often overlooked and for the wrong reasons. You want to get out of the heat, but there's a wonderful little film in there too.
Oh, there is. There's a great story in there with all
the artifacts.
The timeline. Yeah, the artifacts, the timeline. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, if you're a true Disney fan and you go to Hollywood Studios, shame on you if you don't go in there.
Well,
if you've never been in there.
There's that discussion that a lot of people don't remember that Walt Disney was a person.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know where they got that idea.
Oh, God, yeah, well.
Let's see. Oh, also they do have some character meet and greets there too that are inside,
Yes, they
not
do.
outside, like the Star Wars characters and stuff that you can go in and see Mickey and Minnie. I haven't been to that one yet.
I haven't either.
We
I
need
don't
to
know.
make a research trip, Stuart.
Yep. Yeah, we do. I know they had a Cars meet and greet at one point. I don't know if it's still there or not. A couple of the characters of the Cars, and I don't know if that was indoors either. It's like,
They do have a show.
Lightning
yes,
McQueen.
they do have a show. Yep.
They do have a show down
Yep.
by Tower of Terror.
Yeah, with me, you get to a certain age, and it's like I don't know what I had for. I can remember what I did 30 years ago. I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
It's actually, so it's near Tower of Terror, but it's down past Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yep.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah. Beauty and the Beast. I think it's a wonderful show, but it's
Not in the
hot.
hot for me.
It is hot. Phantasmic. If you're going to go see on a hot, humid night, good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really.
Elbow to elbow or shoulder.
Yeah.
And it's hot there too. I think that's it for Hollywood Studios. That it's. Oh no! We're forgetting an area there. Right before you get to Tower 10 Rock and Roller Coaster, there's that food area there, the food court. I forgot the name of it.
Oh yes.
That's a good place to get out of the shade or get out of the sun into some shade for a little bit and get a refreshment.
It's a place to get a refreshment. You're not
And
going
the
to get
stores there too.
But yeah, but like Darlene said, you leverage the shops on Sunset Boulevard. You go through them, then cross the street.
Yep.
And grab a drink. I mean, I wouldn't do it without grabbing a drink. Grab a drink.
Yeah, I agree with you.
A snack.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have to sit for a little while since you don't have the air conditioning to help you.
Right.
Take a little bit longer.
Yep. And there's a sitting area, if I'm not mistaken, very small one outside of where the Brown Derby is.
Yes.
Some of it's in the shade, some of it is not. So.
Yeah.
And then there's jelly rolls too that you can sit over there.
Yep.
Or not jelly rolls.
Jelly rolls.
And I'm going, jelly rolls is on the boardwalk.
Not jelly rolls. The old
Starring rolls.
Cafe.
Yeah.
I think you meant the bar.
So sad they got rid of that.
Yeah, one of our favorites.
That
lamented
was one of my favorites too. Sichuangas was one of my favorites too, when it was memorabilia.
Mm.
But you know what? It wasn't selling the memorabilia, so they turned into a Photoshop.
Mm.
All right, let's move on to the final park. So, John, you could pick that.
AKL.
Now, we didn't mention the water parks. We'll discuss that after.
Well, yeah. The water parks are a way to cool down period.
Yeah. That's all right. So we've said what we needed to say about the water parks. And most people don't go there. And if you do, it's a nice way to cool off. All right. So Animal Kingdom.
So Animal Kingdom, to me, and so I agree that Hollywood Studios can be tough. Animal Kingdom, I think, is tough to find ways to avoid the heat.
Yes.
While you're in there, it's got more shade. I agree.
It does.
And you and Kurt had this discussion about which is the hottest park between Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom. But so some of the places here's a place that I find one of the best to cool off, and that's in Finding Nemo the musical.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned Finding Nemo the musical. That is a great place to cool off. That also happens to be the area, that section, one of the hottest places in Animal Kingdom, because you've got the water right next door with that open, I guess it's that concrete theater that has nothing going on right now.
Right. And to get there, either coming from Asia or coming from the Tree of Life, there's not a lot of places to duck in.
Nope.
No, there's not. I think the best spot, because with all the vegetation, it's very humid in Animal Kingdom. I think that's the big thing. I think your best rides in that park are Flight of Passage and the Nave River.
Mm.
It's also the most shaded area in the park, I think.
Pardon?
It's also the most shaded area in the park.
It is. And I think James Cameron did a great job designing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He did.
He had some help.
Well, he did.
Two
But
Imagineers.
Joe
he
Rody,
he's
thank
the
you.
only one that thought of putting fans and water station in the queue,
Mm.
Yeah.
which I thought was phenomenal. And then they started popping up more. But it's Florida, people. You need those fans and that water station.
Yes, you do.
So that's like one of my favorite plots and spots. And you like the Santulli Canteen.
Oh, love it.
Oh my, yeah.
Love it, love it, love it.
Get an indoor place to sit.
Yes, absolutely. Indoor, not outdoor, indoor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Another place there that is good it's not air conditioned, but you do get to beat the heat a little bit, is the bird show, because it's undercover.
Yes.
It's, what is it, about a 20-minute show, maybe 15, 20 minutes, somewhere around there. Great place.
I
Great
mean,
place to relax for a little bit. Go see Nemo and go to the bird show, or vice versa.
Right. Or the Gorilla Falls. That's quite shaded. It's hot, but it's outside. But it's shaded.
John. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to.
Maharaja
Jungle Trek. That too is a good place to go.
Yes, John. Now you mentioned the show before, indoors air conditioning. There's another show that's indoors and air conditioning, and there's always a battle. Which one is better?
Well, there's actually two, but one of them is live. You mean Festival of the Lion King?
Yes, absolutely. I wasn't talking about It's a Bug's Life.
It's tough to be a bug.
Or tough to be a bug, right?
Yeah, yeah. So Festival of the Lion King is a good one. It's tough to be a bug. The nice thing about It's Tough to Be a Bug, first of all, you don't have to wait in a queue to get inside. Now, you do have to walk and wind your way through the root system, but you can get into the waiting area until the next show starts. And it's dark, it's cool, and then certainly the attraction itself is inside and air conditioned.
Yeah. Now, one thing that's a little bit of a disappointment for me in Animal Kingdom is they have stores, but they're in different sections, and there's not a lot. Like, you can't walk down like a Main Street or a Hollywood and Vine.
Yeah.
You go from store to store. I don't know. Yeah.
And you'll find some at the attractions, like at Everest or in Pandora. There's a shop there too. But it's like you say, it's not. There's a row of shops.
Right.
So you can duck through the row of shops to get to the other end.
Back by Safari, there's the sweets shop over there with a store and stuff. You can duck in there.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you do at least have some places you can use strategically to get in.
Yeah.
Just in a different way.
Where is it? I'm trying to think now. I was going to call it P.F. Chang's. It's not P.F. Chang's.
Yak and Yeti?
Yak and Yeti, yes. The Yak and Yeti Express. If you go behind Yak and Yeti Express, there's a big seating area there.
Yes.
Some of it is in the sun.
Is in the shade.
Some's in the sun, some's in the shade.
Right. You want to get in the shade there. If you can get in the shade there, you're good for a while.
Yep.
And I think Animal Kingdom is another park that suffers a little bit of not having enough attractions to duck into. There's a lot to do there. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I think it needs a little more. I think it needs more stores too.
Yeah.
It does. It does.
Well, and the Safari is one of its primary attractions.
Correct.
But you don't get a lot of relief from the heat.
No, you don't. Yeah. Then there's the train ride to the petting zoo. And there's that building there where they have, I don't know, there are some stuff going on there. That's where they teach you how to draw the animals, or?
Oh, and Rafiki's Planet Watch.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And And I think that's a good idea for kids if you go over there, little ones. But a lot of people don't go over there. So, but if you do, go into Rafiki's Planet Watch and take a little break there. Even if it's for 5 minutes, just take that break.
A lot of effort for 5 minutes. But
Yeah, it is. It is a lot of effort. But if you go in there with your kids to the petting zoo,
yeah, I think they're going to be there longer than 5 minutes. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just think taking the train back there is very relaxing and
It
stuff.
is, but it's too quick. Now the
It
thing,
is. But you do get to see the behind the scenes.
yes, you do. Now I'll tell you something though. The biggest problem I have with Animal Kingdom, and it's the walk from the parking lot to the front gate.
Right? Oh my God.
That might be the most brutal
Tell
walk.
me about it. Or even, I think even worse is when you're leaving.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Because your car's been sitting in the sun and you're warmed up getting out there. Yeah, that's a long trek and an uncomfortable one.
Yep. And you know what? I think they could have planned that a little bit better and brought the cars closer to the entrance. I think there's a lot of wasted space from walking out. But they might have reasons for it because we don't know what's going on outside of that big entrance area on the other sides. It could be places where they're doing things with the animals that they need that space to come out that far.
Correct.
But that is that of all the parks, when it's hot out, I dread the walk to and from Animal Kingdom more than any other park.
I agree.
And I think Hollywood Studios probably has the easiest entrance to get in and out of the park from where you're parking. I think it's the closest to your cars.
You're probably right. Yeah. Unless you're all the way at the back of the parking lot. But.
Yeah, right. Well, if you're in the back of any parking lot, it sucks.
Right. And that's the sad thing is that the trams haven't been running.
And what happened to the problems of the trams last year, over a year ago, coming back to Epcot?
So we still just have two?
We still have just two.
Yeah.
Yep. Hasn't happened yet. And I don't know if it's because they can't get workers, if they're saving money, or if they just can't get the trams up and running. I don't know what the problem is. Or the reason is. I shouldn't say problem. It's not a problem.
Right.
It's a reason.
Right.
Yeah. Any other? We haven't gotten out of the park. Well, we got out of the parks a little bit here and there. I mentioned the resorts and cooling off during the day. If you're taking a walk on property, we'll get to Disney Springs in a minute or two. Also, that's also brutal to walk around. But if you're walking around your resort, or there's walkways from one resort to another, that's always fun to do. And if you do that, take plenty of water with you. Don't take one bottle of water. Take at least two.
Right. Yeah. You could be out there for a while walking.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things to do on those walks. There's miniature golf you can do, horseback riding. There's so much to do on Disney property.
Getting out of the Magic Kingdom and taking the monorail loop, just going from the Magic Kingdom to the Poly, to the Grand Floridian, to the Contemporary, is a good way to cool down in and of itself, to go out for lunch, to go out just to tour, take the monorail loop and visit the resorts. That's getting out of the parks and especially in the middle of the day when it's the most crowded, get away from the heat, get away from the crowds, find a place to relax.
Yeah. Something people don't consider, well, I shouldn't say some people don't consider this an experience, but it is. And it's just as much an experience as it is being on an attraction in one of the parks, and that is the restaurants that you'll find in the resorts themselves.
Exactly.
So you can take not just a break. You could, if you don't want to go to the parks every day, take a day off, tour the resorts, pick one in particular that you want to see, find a restaurant there, and relax and enjoy the day there.
Yeah. Or even go to the food courts.
Yes.
We've said before.
Yep.
Whether it's for lunch or it's for dinner. We talked about some of the, our favorite counter services recently.
What about Harambe Market?
I find it hot there.
It is hot there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little shade there, but not a lot.
There's usually a lot of competition for that shade too.
There is.
Mhm.
Same thing with what can I think of the name of the restaurant? Flame Tree Barbecue.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
But if you go down along the waterway, that's where you can find seating. But that's
If you can
another
find
tight
seating.
spot.
That was one of my favorite places to just get away and hide. And a
Yeah,
lot of people seem to have found that.
I know. I know.
Yeah, nothing stays secret forever.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Disney Springs. There's so many stores to duck in and out of, but I think the
Yes.
way it's configured,
There's not a lot of shade.
no, there's no shade in most
There's
places.
no
Just,
shade.
you're walking from one store to another,
Yeah.
okay, but as soon as you come out of one store to get to the next store, you just die.
Isn't there covering in the one section of shops
The
on
one
the
section,
west
yeah,
side?
that's
Yeah.
not a lot.
That's in the new section by Chicken Guy.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's also the air is very still there.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
It is still there. It would have been nice if they put. I don't know. Do they have? I don't think they have fans. It would have been nice if they had fans above.
If there are, I just
Never
couldn't.
really looked up.
I never felt the air coming from there, so I assume there's not. And
Well, it's pretty
if
high.
someone knows that there are, please correct me, and I'll admit I'm wrong.
Next time I go there, I'll let you know.
Yep. Yeah, I haven't. I am not a big fan of Disney Springs only because, and I love. Trust me, I love the stores there. I love the way it's situated with all the different places to eat. It's the crowd levels there. I just don't like to go there because of the crowds, and you're not getting the same kind of crowd you would get in the Disney parks.
Yeah.
You're getting all us Floridians that live down here that go there.
The
with
best
the
time
tourists.
to go, I find, to do my shopping that I want to get is in the morning, early
Yeah, mornings are always better to go there. Yeah, but if you're going to the parks on vacation, the likelihood is you're going to go there at night when the parks are closed, or you're just too tired to go back to the parks. There's a place to get ice cream there. There's a place to get drinks, food, you name it, they have it, and so that's another good place.
Absolutely.
John, anything else you want to mention, or Darlene, that you would like to mention about any place on property, parks or otherwise?
We talked around it a little bit, but I mean, one of the things you can consider doing is certainly staying out of the parks in the middle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
But what about just waiting till closer to sundown to go into the parks, or at least for the afternoon and evening?
Yeah.
It could still be hot in the evenings, as you said, but it could be a lot more comfortable than the sun beating down on you.
Yeah. Something that I don't know if there's a way. It's like my recommendation is if you've got that's right now. If you've got a young family, and when I say young family, you've got kids that are preschoolers or even elementary school age. It's wise to get out of the parks in the middle of the day and relax at your resort. However, with the crowd levels, depending on when you go, if they're up there like they're going to be now, with schools out for the summer and the heat the way it is, the likelihood is you're going to be spending money on Genie Plus in some of the parks, if not all, or you're going to be standing on long lines, and you're going to need full days in the parks to get through everything. And unfortunately, you're going to need a vacation when you finish with your vacation.
Right, exactly.
And I don't know if there's a better way around it right now for people that are coming in that particular situation or situations. I just don't know. So even though we can give our best advice for something, you may not be able to take it because of the time you're there. You might be there for 3 days, 5 days. If you're there for 10 days, you certainly can do everything and take breaks from the parks. If you're there for 3 to 5 days, I'm not so sure. I think you could, but it's tough.
And there's a lot of places that you could stop and get a cool beverage or something. You got Ghirardelli, you've got I think they renamed it the Sunshine, where they sell the Dole Whip on the other side.
I don't know the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
It's by Goofy's Candy Shop. That's where they put the Dole Whip stand. It used to be in front of Margarita Joe's, I think it's called. They moved that around. And that's a good place to stop in, and get a refreshing, ice cream or something.
Yeah.
The Coca-Cola store up on the roof.
Yep. Well, I don't know about up on the roof, but at least inside the store.
Well, yeah, inside the store,
Cool off.
Something to drink.
Right. If you want to cool off.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
Me too.
Trying to think of where
Movie
else.
theater. Taking a movie. Go to Splitsville.
Yes, you go. Yeah, bowling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Those places are air conditioned.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to mention or discuss before we hit the road?
Entertainment too, stopping over at like the House of Blues, grabbing something to eat, catching, one of the local bands that are playing. Those are free. They're outside. Splitsville has the same thing. They have
Darlene, you just
free
said
outside's not good.
Yeah, right. You just said it. They're outside.
Well, I mean, but it's at least they've got shady trees.
Okay.
So, at least you're under the shade. And,
Yeah.
just
you're not moving around. You're resting. Yeah.
Because even I think City Works has their doors opened, if I'm not mistaken, the windows.
Oh, I don't know. They might.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? We didn't mention Epcot, the theater there by the American Pavilion where the concerts are. That's shaded. Now the sun can be down on you depending on the time.
It can.
Of day. But
the worst thing with that is waiting in the line.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
By the time you get from the line to the seat, it's like, okay, I need a cold drink like now.
Yeah.
That's a really tough line to stand in.
Yep, it is. It absolutely is. All right. I think that's going to do it for us. Unless, John, you look like you want to say something.
Nope. I'm getting hot just talking about it.
Yeah.
I got a fan going.
There you go.
All right. I did want to check some. I want to, you looked up the weather where you are. I want to see what it is at Walt Disney World right now.
Well, just look up the surface of the sun, and it'll have the same reading.
It's 79 degrees at Walt Disney World right now.
Yeah, and
that encompasses a large area.
After 10:30. Yeah.
The thing is, this is what they're saying on the weather, on the news, is that the low temperatures are making records right now because they're in the 80s.
Yeah.
At night, I go to let the dog out in the evening, and I'm like, wow, it's still pretty hot out.
I sit outside with some of my neighbors most afternoons, and to let you know how hot it is, I usually take Bernie, the dog, with me to sit and hang out. He loves being around people. I have taken him out once this week because he was jumping on me. I've kept him in most of the time because I'll take him to the dog park near here in the middle of the afternoon when it's brutally hot. It's brutally hot in the evening when we sit out too. And it exhausts him.
Going back
that short walk there and back. So I don't want to do that to him. I don't want to be cruel to him and keep him out in the heat like that. Mm-hmm. So yesterday when I took him out, I actually hosed him down and got him soaking wet to cool him off while he was sitting in the heat. And then he didn't stay out too long. Once he dried off, he was back in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we try to get ours out first thing in the morning because it's just so warm. And then we have a stroller. At least he's small enough to go in a stroller.
Not my dog.
No, not your dog.
Have to protect their pads on that.
That's right. Yeah. All right. That's going to do it for us this week. An extra show that we didn't plan to do. We got it in for you. We will be back after the July 4th holiday. John, I know you'll be on assignment, so you won't be here next week. Mm-hmm. But Darlene and myself will be back, and probably Kurt and Lottie. So hopefully we'll see you all, or you'll hear us all next week. Everybody have a happy, safe, and healthy 4th of July. No matter how you're celebrating, just keep it safe, keep it real. Be yourself, be safe. Bye-bye.
Talking about the 4th of July, holiday weekend and more, one of the things you can say about it is, oh, the sky will be blue and you guys will be there too. When I finally do what frozen things do in summer. In summer. Have a great 4th of July, everybody. Good
That
night.
was awesome.
I love it. Happy 4th of July. Stay safe. Have a magical day. Pack the sunscreen, an umbrella, and a poncho, and you'll be set for your trip.